What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these. Beautiful, delicious, tender, juicy, grilled, amazing al pastor tacos on a grill. Just look at them. Coming up. This is some pork. Pat it dry. And what I got here is a pork butt, a standard typical bone-in pork butt. And I was trying to find a boneless one, but all the ones at the store were really small and looked pretty scraggly. But it's okay, this should work out just fine. And today we're finally taking a look at the al pastor taco. Or is it tacos al pastor? And al pastor has been on the to-do list ever since 2020, but I keep putting it off because I really want to build a specific cooker for al pastor or shawarma, you know, the vertical spits, but I keep not building that pit. And here we are 5 years later, and I've never made pastor on the channel. And one day I will build a pastor pit, but before we do that, I figure we should do a home version that's a little more approachable for those that don't have welders in their garage. And I think I've got a good idea of how to make this work in pretty much any pit, but I've never tried it out, so we're gonna find out today. But to get things started, we need to get this pork butt sliced up. I had it in the freezer for a little bit to try and make this process a little bit easier, but usually between 1/4 and 1/2 inch is what you see, something like that. Looks pretty good to me. And we're just gonna get a bunch of pork butt slices. Something like that. Looking really nice. Makes me want to eat a pork steak. Just gonna keep going until we find that bone, and then we'll just try and work ourselves around it. And after a little knife work, out comes this blade bone. Save that for making pork stock. Really annoying to take those out, but doable. And now we continue getting our slices. And just like that, all sliced up, looking good. Probably made too much pork, but you can never have too much pastor. Got a couple little scraggly bits at the end there, but that should be fine, which is kind of the beauty of this method, is that it does not need to look pretty at this stage. But let's go ahead and make a marinade for all this. And to get our marinade started, we're gonna go into a pot of some boiling water with some Guajillo chilies that I already took the tops off and took all the seeds out of. Going in, same with some Ancho chilies. And to spice it up a little bit, I got a couple chili de Arbol going in there as well. And for a little extra flavor, we're gonna throw a couple of whole cloves in there, as well as a few bay leaves. And we're gonna cover this up with a perfectly sized lid and let that steep for about 10 to 15 minutes. And after steeping and softening up, we can pull them out of their water and go right into the blender, along with half a yellow onion, some garlic, some achiote paste, some pineapple juice, some white vinegar, kosher salt, some freshly cracked black pepper, Mexican oregano, little pinch of cinnamon, and some cumin. And get that all blending up. Beautiful. Beautiful stuff, looking nice and red, smelling very good. And I did add a little bit of water that I steeped the chilies in to thin that out just a little bit. And hopefully that's enough. So into a vessel, I'm gonna go down with a nice little layer, get that spread out. And we're gonna start going in with all of our pork. I'm gonna start out with the little ones first because those will look better on top of the pyramid at the end of this. And essentially, we're just gonna try and make sure everything is thoroughly covered. So just layer by layer until everything is in here and fully covered with this beautiful marinade. Time to repeat. Turns out that was plenty of marinade. This is looking really good. Just getting everything mixed around, making sure everything is evenly covered. And it's looking great. And now I'm gonna pop a lid on this and stick it in the fridge for an overnight marination time. Anywhere from 12 to 24 hours should be perfect. So I'll see y'all tomorrow after a great night of sleep. This video is brought to you by Helix Sleep. Helix Sleep makes premium quality mattresses and bedding customized to fit your needs, conveniently shipped right to your door. The Helix lineup offers 20 unique mattresses to choose from. They've recently launched a variety of mattress toppers for your existing mattress, and they offer a sleep solution for pretty much everybody. And if you're looking to upgrade your kid's bedroom this back to school season, the Helix Kid Mattress has you covered. It's got a 2-sided flippable design, stain and water repellent, and it's naturally hypoallergenic. And how it works is super simple. Go to helixsleep.com using my link, and you can take their sleep quiz, where you enter your basic information like your height, your sleeping preferences, weight, all that sort of stuff, and it will match you with the perfect mattress for you. I took the quiz with Brooke, and we were matched with the Helix Sleep Dusk Luxe mattress, and I gotta tell you, it is definitely the best mattress I have ever had, and we've been sleeping on it for years at this point. And for a while there, I had a lot of lower back pain, but as soon as I got the Helix mattress, it completely went away and made my quality of life so much better. A lot of time standing on concrete back here, so the Helix mattress definitely helps. And I've had dozens of family members and friends switch over to Helix mattresses, and they all absolutely love them. And even more people that have come through the Chud shop and spent the night. We've got a couple Helix Helix mattresses down there as well, and many of them, unprovoked, have come up to me the next morning and said how good of sleep they got the night before and how comfortable that mattress is. Which makes sense because they are the most awarded mattress brand, and definitely what I'll be sleeping on for the rest of my life. So if you want to get the best sleep of your life, click my link in the description box of this video or scan the QR code on screen now, taking you to helixsleep.com/Chuds BBQ, where you can take advantage of their Labor Day exclusive partner offer of 27% off site-wide. Again, link in the description, that's helixsleep.com/Chuds BBQ to get 27% off site-wide. Thank you, Helix. One overnight marination later. Out of the fridge this comes, and looking very marinated. Smells great, tacked up a little bit, and we should be good to go. And like I mentioned earlier, al pastor is typically cooked on a big, tall, rotating spit, and the meat is just shaved off to order, but that's a pretty hard thing to replicate as a home cook. So like most home cooks, I'm gonna bust out one of these. This is just a plate with a big old rod sticking out of it that we can kind of load up with the meat. And then you'll see people putting this in the oven or on their smoker, and that does work, and it will cook the meat, but you don't get that big wall of fire on this side that you typically see with an al pastor or shawarma cooker. So our challenge is, how do we get fire to come all the way up the side of this when it's fully loaded? And I think I have a good idea for that. So what I got here is 2 charcoal baskets that are built for Weber kettles, and these should work out great because we can fill them up with charcoal and hopefully the heat will go this way. And what I really want is to have these stacked on top of each other, something like that. So I thought about getting some cans or something to prop it up, but when I was buying these at Lowe's, I remembered that I was in fact at Lowe's. So I picked up some bolts and some nuts and some washers, and we're gonna try and build a little contraption real quick. So on this stainless steel bolt, we got a nut, and we're gonna drop down a washer. Nice. And go through these 2 holes on the bottom. Then we'll go down with another washer to make sure everything stays in place. And another nut. Make sure everything is nice and tight. And do this side as well. Then we'll take another nut and pop it right on top. About there. Trying to make sure these are even, although I'm sure it doesn't really matter. Washer, washer, and then we'll go on with our top guy. Another couple washers go down, and our final pair of nuts. And there we have it, 2 charcoal baskets on top of each other. But the only problem is it kind of wants to lean. It doesn't stand up on its own, but I suppose it's fine because we can just kind of lie it on the back of the cooker. Or bust out another nut / bolt. And there we have it, my al pastor contraption. And I think this should work, although it's gonna be pretty annoying to load this bottom basket, but with some tongs and some charcoal, it should be very doable. When you pair it next to this spit, it's a pretty good fit. And again, I have no idea if this is gonna work, but in theory it should work. I guess we'll find out today. But let me know in the comment section down below if you think this is crazy and overkill or a cool idea. But now, we gotta get this thing loaded up. And to start out, for the base of our little pyramid here, we're gonna go down with a big chunk of pineapple. Ooh. Just to kind of lift it up a little bit. And now we load it up with our pork, coming out of the marinade looking beautiful. If there's any extra marinade, I'll probably leave that behind. We don't need too much. And simply, it's just time to start building this thing nice and tall. Making sure everything is nicely packed down. And for some of these more gigantic pieces, I'm probably gonna just cut this in half for a little bit more manageable sized pieces. It's kind of fun. Beautiful. And now we're gonna try and see if all of this meat will fit on here. Hopefully it does. Although if it doesn't, I'm not mad about having some pastor marinated pork on hand. Just trying to keep rotating stuff. If it's looking a little smaller on this side, we'll kind of aim a piece over in that direction. And just doing our best here, folks. And just like that, all loaded up. There's definitely some left over, but it's a lot of these really tiny scrap pieces that we can just kind of grill off and slice up later in the week. But to top this thing off, right through the core here, we're gonna top it with another chunk of pineapple to keep everything in place. Ooh, juicy. And hopefully drip down and perfume the meat. But looks like a sloppy pile, but it looks good. And with all of our meat loaded up, all we gotta do now is fire up the pit. Ooh, nice fit. And on the pit we go. And it would appear some prankster put the feathers back on, which I do kind of like for presentation, but they're probably just gonna burn up, so not today. And again, this isn't a perfect system, you know, nothing's rotating, so you are gonna have to come out here every 20, 30 minutes and give this a little spin, but that's not too big of a deal. Definitely got a lot of heat coming across right there, so that's good. And the beauty of this is we got all this room over here, so if it gets too hot, we can just kind of slide it over or get it closer, because I want to get some good dark sear on this, some good charring on there, make sure the fat is rendered down. And the super convenient part about all this is that on the old Chud grill here, we can shut the lid. There's plenty of room. So if we want to rely on that radiant heat from the grill itself to cook this thing all the way through to the center, we've got that option as well. But for now, I'm gonna shut this front door and let this charcoal continue to catch, and hopefully it's not too much heat. So I'm gonna shut this down, open this top vent right now to direct airflow across the pork, and see what kind of temps we're rocking on this pit itself. So we'll check back in, I don't know, 30 minutes or so. And while that meat cooks away, let's go ahead and knock out a quick salsa. And when I was doing my al pastor research, I had to revisit my buddy Dave from Wilson's Barbecues video, where he made some absolutely fantastic looking al pastor tacos on a chud box. Highly recommend checking that one out. And if you don't mind, please go subscribe. He just hit 50,000 subscribers, and I want to see him get up to 100. Also, great channel, love that guy. But in that video, he made a green sauce. He called it a taco truck green sauce, which was very simple, only a few ingredients, and a little bit thinner than a traditional salsa verde, and it looked really good, and I want to try it. So that's what we're gonna make right now. Starting with some jalapeños. So into a pot of boiling water, we're gonna go in with 4 jalapeños that have been seeded and deveined, but you could leave them in if you want it a little bit spicier. Also gonna go in with 4 cloves of garlic and 1/2 of a yellow onion. And we're just gonna let this soften up and boil for about 10 minutes. And after boiling down for about 10 minutes and everything has softened up, into a blender we go, followed by the juice of 1 lime, a nice big fat pinch of salt, a handful of cilantro, this is mostly stems, as well as some oil. This is avocado oil, but any neutral flavored oil will work. Lid goes on, and we blend. Oh, beautiful consistency on that. Be sure to taste and adjust. Need some more lime. Also, I probably shouldn't have seeded all those jalapeños because this is very mild, so I'm gonna go ahead and add some of these back in. Oops. And 1 final blend. And just like that, our super easy green sauce is done. Beautiful. Next up, let's go ahead and knock out some corn tortillas. Starting by going into a bowl with some hacienda corn masa. This stuff is great. Followed by a pinch of salt, as well as some warm water. And get that all mixed up until everything is evenly incorporated. And knead that for a couple of minutes. And once that's all come together into a not too sticky dough ball, we can go ahead and weigh out some 25-gram little balls. Give the old roly-poly, and repeat. And once all rolled out, we're gonna bust out our tortilla press with a little plastic baggie on there to make sure nothing sticks. Place our ball down in the middle, cover it up, and we press. For a beautiful tortilla. Should come unstuck very easily, just like that. And then over here, I got the chud press fired up, nice and toasty, and we're just gonna get these cooked off. Beautiful. And after cooking about a minute on the other side, we can pull these off, and into our tortilla warmer they go to steam up and stay warm and continue cooking. Ow. And just like that, a whole stack of some freshly made corn tortillas. Keep them in here to stay warm. We are about an hour and a half into this cook, and everything has gone according to plan and looking very good. Getting some beautiful color on there, smells incredible. That pineapple is really coming through. Collecting some juices down at the bottom, and this process has been working out very well, which is exciting. But we are starting to run low on charcoal, so it's time to reload. And with that lid closed, it was cooking at about 350 degrees in here, so shouldn't be that long of a cook, even though it's pretty much an entire pork butt. But nothing's burning, cooking too quickly or anything like that. And I've been coming out here and just rotating this thing every 20-30 minutes or so. Grab a little thing like this and just kind of nothing to it, very easy. And now it's time for the annoying part, which is trying to reload this bottom section. But honestly, I was expecting it to be a lot worse. And just like that, loaded back up. I'm gonna leave the lid open for the next 10 minutes or so, just to let all that old charcoal catch this new stuff and continue the cooking process. 3 hours into this cook, I just topped it off with some more charcoal, and everything is still going very smoothly. Loving the color on this pork, collecting a lot of juices down there. I might try to get a spoon in there and baste this thing in a little bit. In fact, let's try it right now. Oh yeah, get those juices all over this thing. Might help with the color a little bit, keeping everything nice and moist and juicy. And the outside of this stuff is definitely good, so if you wanted to just shave off the outside, kind of like traditional pastor, you could definitely start making tacos right away. But if you're a little squeamish about the internal still being rare or raw, then you can just keep cooking it. Right now in the middle, we're about 110, 115. So we're just gonna let this keep on rocking for another hour or so, and we'll check back in. Which gives us plenty of time for another episode of Bones Tries Something Weird. What's on the menu today, bucko?
Today, someone sent us some smoked sprat in oil. And I looked it up. I guess they're like sardines, but smaller. It's from Latvia. So we're gonna find out.
I don't think I've ever had Latvian food before, especially out of a can.
I don't think so.
Ooh.
Yep, looks like smaller sardines.
Oh, nice. I love a good sardine. Oh, right in the eye.
These look good. There's a lot in there. Ooh, they're firm. These are really good.
Really? Mm-hmm. How's the smoke level?
It's almost bacony.
Ooh.
These are like probably the best I've had.
Really?
For like a smoked fish. Yeah, get in there.
Oh yeah, that looks good. Nice and cleaned up too.
Mm-hmm. Great texture.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's go for it. Ooh, that is good. Definitely smoky, but not too smoky. Like a lot of these. Like, have you ever had the smoked oysters?
Yeah.
They can be way too smoky. That's quite nice.
And it's like, it's not dry. Mm-hmm. I feel like a lot of canned fish is just dry, but nice and firm. I feel like they deboned it because I'm not getting any crunch at all.
I mean, they're probably just tiny bones. I don't think you could debone something that small.
Are you getting any? I feel
No,
like
not
sardines,
that.
you get a little bit of crunch. So nice. Mmm.
New favorite fish alert?
Yep. This is Riga's Zelts. Probably way off, but very good.
Nice. We're a little over 4 hours into this cook at this point, and this thing is looking good, definitely darkening up quite a bit. And per usual, it looks a lot darker on camera than it does in real life, but I was going for a nice dark crust on the outside, although the pineapple on top burned up pretty quick, which is kind of expected because it's mostly sugar and it's, you know, pretty high heat in there. But I definitely don't want this getting too dark, and we're sitting at 130 internal, and I'm kind of aiming for that 145, 150 range. So I think I'm gonna tent some foil around this just to protect it a little bit and speed up the final few degrees of this cook. Beautiful, should not be long now. And just like that, 6 hours in on the dot, and this thing is coming off. Let's unwrap it and see how she's looking. Looking pretty good, definitely a little charry, but I think that's gonna be some really good flavor. And all in all, it's rocking right around 145 internal. Definitely a little more crispy on the outside, so we should get some good textural variation and some good crust. But now we're gonna let this rest for a little bit. And at long last, let's go ahead and slice into this al pastor and see how it came out, shall we? Just gonna start taking some nice little shavings. Let those kind of sit in the juices down here a little bit. Ooh, looking nice and juicy. Smelling that charcoal flavor too. And just look at all the layers. That's kind of the nice part about doing this taco to order style, you know, just shave off the outer layer, then put it back on the spit, is that you can really get it into a nice shape during the cook. That's why you see those nice big cones of these things. But I will say I'm impressed with how this cooked up. That contraption worked out really well. I was worried it was gonna fall over or fall apart or something like that, but worked out pretty well. And I think my biggest mistake with this whole process was I should have just made the whole thing smaller and ideally a little more uniform, because the stuff at the top definitely cooked through a lot quicker than the stuff at the bottom. But we're learning, folks. I'm gonna start loading this onto a tray, bringing some of those juices down there along for the ride. And I also strained a bunch of juice out as soon as this came off the pit, because it was pretty much full and I didn't want to spill it anywhere. That's kind of the fun part about a recipe like this, you know, you show up with one of these and just start cutting all this meat off. Looks cool, smells great, and you could feed a whole bunch of people this way. It's like a big meat cake, just like me. And I don't know about you, but that's looking like enough meat for a couple tacos, so we'll slice the rest of this up later. And there we have it, folks, a whole bunch of some nicely sliced up al pastor taco meat. Looking very good, all that fat and juices in there from the bottom of the tray. Good pieces of bark in there. I'm pretty happy with how this is looking. But I'm gonna go ahead and hit this with a little bit of salt, because there wasn't all that much salt in the marinade. And truth be told, I was gonna throw some salt on it while I layered it, but I completely forgot to do that. So we're just gonna mix a little bit in right at the end here, and it should be perfectly fine. So to build a taco, I just threw some of these tortillas back on the old Chud press over there to warm them up and crisp them up a little bit. And it's a pretty simple taco from here. We'll go down to some of our lovely pastor meat, get some barky pieces, get some juicy pieces in there. Throw on some of our grilled pineapples, and because our pineapple on top got absolutely blasted by flames, I just grilled off some of these little canned pineapple rings, which should work out perfectly. Follow that with a nice zig of our lovely green sauce here, some fresh white onion, and of course some cilantro. And there we have it, folks, my first ever attempt at tacos al pastor. Serve it with a lime. And there they are, folks, in all their glory, some beautiful freshly shaved al pastor tacos ready to go. Let's see how they came out. Bottoms up. I mean, what's not to like here, folks? You got some beautiful charcoal flavor on that nicely grilled up pork. Everything is tender and biting easily. Then you got that pineapple in there, bringing some nice juiciness and that pineapple flavor. Onion, cilantro, freshly made corn tortilla. It's just a perfect taco. A little bit of heat from that sauce too. I love al pastor. It's so meaty, yet so refreshing with that pineapple in there. I'm gonna eat a lot of these. Would you like a taco?
Yeah, these look so good.
We have enough to feed an entire country.
There's a whole lot.
Especially with the tiny tortillas.
Yep. That's really good.
And a good taco.
Savory, salty, sweet from the pineapple. So nice. Fresh.
Every time I take a bite, I forget there's pineapple on it. And you're reminded immediately.
Yeah, but it's not like weird. It's not like a pineapple on pizza.
Don't get started with that. Yeah, no, there's definitely a time and a place for pineapple, and especially in a super savory dish like this, with a little bit of heat on that pork.
Could use a little more heat.
Yeah, definitely.
Other than that.
Yeah, I shouldn't have seeded the jalapenos in that sauce. But all in all, though, pretty fun cook. I never cooked an entire pork butt in 6 hours before.
Yeah. And these street tacos are just, they're great.
Yeah.
You can just keep going and going.
Yeah, just house like 15 of these.
I really like this.
Not bad. Well, you can eat them every day for lunch for the next 6 months. That's kind of the beauty of this stuff too. Is like you just throw it in a pan, kind of stir fry it, reheat it, build up that crust that's not on the inside.
Yeah.
I haven't had a pastor taco in a while.
Me either. It's not one I usually order because I feel like the pineapple isn't done well. It's usually like a cheap crushed pineapple or something. And
Right.
it's overpowering.
Yeah.
And this it's not at all. It's just a nice compliment.
Yeah, well, this is a very pork-heavy taco.
Yeah. This is a giant street taco.
Oops. Did you think my little contraption with the charcoal baskets was going to fail?
No.
I did.
Really?
I thought something weird would happen, fall apart, or you couldn't reload it with charcoal, but it worked out pretty well. It was very easy to use.
It seemed like it was a pretty ingenuitive design.
Thanks, you know. I built a few pits in my day. We do need to build a professional version of that, though. That's the best part about that thing, is that you can use it on any pit.
Yeah.
Throw it in a chud box, a grill, a Weber kettle.
Yeah.
Just on the ground would probably work.
Yeah.
Not be very efficient, but get the job done. I said I was only going to have 2, but I don't know. And with this very last bite of pastor, I think it is time for the official taste test. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is how to make some tacos al pastor on a grill with a very unique charcoal bolt situation. I highly recommend giving this one a try. You know, I think that charcoal situation was really cool and it worked pretty well, and I think with a few tweaks we could really get this dialed in. But again, this was my first ever attempt at making al pastor, but I think maybe if I cut the meat a little bit thinner, or just made the overall mound a little bit smaller, we'd be able to cook this thing through without hammering the outside nearly as much. Although it didn't taste burnt or anything like that, it just wasn't the most visually appealing thing. But proof of concept is there on the old bolt together charcoal baskets, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on how we can improve this cook and how we can improve this method in the comments section down below. But all that being said, if you enjoyed this video, let me know by hitting that subscribe button. Let YouTube know by dropping a like on this video. If you give this technique or build that contraption for yourself, be sure to tag me on Instagram. I'd love to see what y'all are cooking and or building. Big shout out to all the Team Chud members. Thank you for supporting this channel and allowing me to keep making all these videos, and until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace!